we have been tracking a number of these special elections, and in several instances, Democrats have outperformed their polls, and even in cases where, you know, they don't end up pulling off the win, they're really outperforming in some of these special elections where Biden is, and Republicans have been underperforming where Trump was in those districts. So this has been seen by some political observers as a potential indication that Republican momentum is flagging, that Democratic support may be not only on the rise, but somewhat underestimated by the polling. We saw this certainly in the Kansas ballot initiative as well. And so in New York 19, you have an upstate New York district that is truly, truly a swing district. Like, it goes for a Republican, it goes for a Democrat. I think Biden won it by like a point and a, yeah, Biden won it by 1.5 points. So this is as swingy as an area as you possibly could get. And you have two relatively high quality candidates in terms of having established bases in this district. Republican Mark Molinaro, he is the executive in Dutchess County. And you've got Democrat Pat Ryan, he is the executive in Ulster County. You also have, making this even more interesting, the Republican has leaned 100% into a message about the economy and inflation, and the Democrat, Pat Ryan, has leaned nearly 100% into a message about abortion. So not only do you have this, you know, okay, who's showing up, Democrat, Republican, but you also have which message is actually effective right now. Now, the dynamics of this are a little bit weird. The winner here is only going to win 4 months in office. Right. This seat became open because Democrats elevated Antonio Delgado to be New York's lieutenant governor after Cuomo resigned, all that stuff. So, and then the next time that they run for this seat, it will actually be totally different district lines. So it really is just important as like a bellwether of Democratic and Republican sentiment. So that is another one to watch. And again, one of the other things that is interesting about this area is this is a part of the state that has seen tens of thousands of New York City residents move into the area post-COVID, basically fleeing the city and moving here, especially as they're able to work remotely. So there's also a question over whether those new residents, tens of thousands of them who moved to this area, might sort of shake up the political dynamic here as well.
Yeah, Ryan is an interesting candidate. You know, he graduated from West Point. He's somebody who's kind of been at the top of the field. Molinaro also is actually pretty well known. So they actually have a pretty equal amount of like national or state profile. I mean, the influx of the NYC residents actually probably could change everything from the 2020 actual election results, and would of course make abortion much more salient. But regardless, it will be a very, very good test case for everything that we look at. Generic overperformance. If it's Biden +1 and let's say the Democrat wins it by 5 points, you're like, hey, that's crazy. But also, I mean, Youngkin was a real harbinger of the political climate for what, basically a year or 6 months or so after he was elected. So that's why these things, of course, matter the most. They can tell us a lot about where things are trending, and it's a good message-by-message test. Also, in terms of GOP enthusiasm, people still feeling as enthusiastic as they were 8 months ago in order to come out and vote no against Biden or the Biden agenda or like the general feeling of how things are going. So it'll be really interesting to watch what happens there.
And just a couple other little notes as you're watching returns tonight. There is another special election in a different district that is very hard Republican, but this is another one where you could watch the margin. Trump won this district by 11 points, so if the Democrat outperforms, that would be another indication. If they underperform, that would be a different indication. And you do have races down in Florida. I think the most interesting one is probably the Democratic primary for governor. It's Nikki Fried, who I think is the agriculture secretary, versus Charlie Crist. Fried is running as more of like the, she's running more as the progressive, he's running more as the establishment, so we'll see how that shakes out. And I think most people expect Crist to win, but we will see. You never know until they actually vote.
It'll be fun.
Yes, indeed.
Whoever they do will face DeSantis, who maybe we should talk on Thursday about his new cringe ad, which we can.
Oh, what's the cringe ad? I didn't see it.
So
what's it?
Let's not even tell people.
All right, this is a tease even for me.
I want you to watch it live with me.
And react.
It's something else.
Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.